The ratings are in for Wednesday's edition of AEW Dynamite on TBS, the AEW Dynasty go-home episode of the flagship show for All Elite Wrestling. Netflix announces a big change to their subscribers ahead of Raw moving over to the streaming giant in 2025. An update on the NBA's deal with WBD and what that could mean for AEW's media rights negotiations. Janelle Grant's lawyer hits back at The Rock and John Cena for their association with Vince McMahon. Sheamus responds to trolls body shaming him on social media. Details on WrestleMania 41's date, location, and possible venue. And Cruz del Toro undergo surgery. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of professional wrestling. Let's start off talking about the ratings for AEW Dynamite on TBS this past Wednesday. Of course, it was the go-home episode for AEW Dynasty on Sunday. A reminder, we will be doing a watch-along and a post-show for that live on Sunday, so be sure to click the subscribe button, click the notification bell. You'll be notified when we go live for that. But the last AEW Dynamite before Dynasty didn't have a controversial hook like last week's airing of the backstage altercation between WWE CM Punk and New Japan Pro Wrestling's Jack Perry from this past August All-In pay-per-view, and the ratings took a slight dip with things returning to normal and the focus shifting to the AEW roster. Now, WrestleNomics is reporting that AEW Dynamite was viewed by 762,000 viewers overall on Wednesday, a 7% drop from last week's overall viewership. The 18 to 49 demographic tuned in to the tune of a 0.26 rating, which is down 13% from last week. Now, overall, Dynamite is down 9% overall for the year and 8% in the 18 to 49 demographic. And when it comes to the quarter-hour ratings, these come courtesy of WrestleNomics, so be sure to subscribe to their Patreon service and check them out. You can see it right there, of course. It had a strong lead-in, and the highest-rated segment of the night overall was the opening promo by brand-new IWGP World Heavyweight Champion Jon Moxley, while the lowest-rated segment overall was the main event confrontation between Samoa Joe and Swerve Strickland ahead of their AEW World Championship match at AEW Dynasty. The highest-rated segment for the 18 to 49 demographic was the mixed tag team match that saw Willow Nightingale and Adam Copeland face off against Brody King and Julia Hart of the House of Black. The lowest rated segment in the 18 to 49 demographic, interestingly enough, was the trios match that saw Kazuchika Okada and the Young Bucks triumphant over the team of Daniel Garcia, Penta El Zero Miedo, and Pac. The show also featured a match between Claudio Castagnoli and Will Ospreay, the first time ever either man had wrestled each other, which saw a bump in both demographics, with roughly 40,000 tuning in for the match overall and in the 18 to 49 demographic, though many of them tuned out for the contract signing that happened in the overrun. Interestingly, as I said, you can see right there, after a strong lead-in once again, we had 917,000 viewers tuning in for that first quarter, 865,000 for the second quarter. But once we got into the Young Bucks match involving Kazuchika Okada against Penta El Zero Miedo, Daniel Garcia, and Pac, a sharp decline in terms of total viewership and the key demo, which kind of remained steady for the rest of the show, and then once again dipped in that overrun involving Swerve Strickland and Samoa Joe. So what do you make of those ratings? Let me know your thoughts about it as we head into AEW Dynasty in the comments section below. Now, this is certainly a really interesting story here regarding Netflix, of course, Netflix being the home for Monday Night Raw in 2025. Now, following the announcement of the move, Netflix has announced a significant change ahead of the start of Monday Night Raw, WWE's flagship broadcast, going to the streaming giant in January 2025. In January of this year, WWE announced that the company had agreed to an agreement to bring the media rights for Monday Night Raw to Netflix's streaming service starting in January of next year. On April 18, Netflix announced their first quarter earnings for 2024, which revealed a major change for the streaming service. Netflix stated that they will stop reporting subscriber numbers starting in 2025 prior to the arrival of Monday Night Raw on the app. The company will announce, quote, major subscriber milestones, end quote, as they occur, but they will not disclose quarterly subscriber numbers. In a letter to the subscribers, Netflix wrote the following statement, quote, "As we've noted in previous letters, we're focused on revenue and operating margin as our primary financial metrics and engagement, i.e. time spent, as our best proxy for customer satisfaction. In our early days, when we had little revenue or profit, membership growth was a strong indicator of our future potential. But now we're generating very substantial profit and free cash flow. We are also developing new revenue streams like advertising and our extra member feature, so memberships are just one component of our growth. In addition, as we've evolved our pricing and plans from a single to multiple tiers with different price points depending on the country, each incremental paid membership has a very different business impact. It's why we've stopped providing quarterly paid membership guidance in 2023, and starting next year with our Q1 25 earnings, we will stop reporting quarterly membership numbers and ARM. So, do you think this is a good move for WWE, or do you think it's a bad move for WWE and Netflix? And it's going to be certainly interesting because we won't have a definitive look as to how many people are actually viewing Monday Night Raw on the app. Speaking of media rights, a bit of an update when it comes to AEWs with Warner Bros. Discovery, and many people have said that WBD's negotiations with the NBA could certainly significantly impact how AEW negotiate with Warner Bros. Discovery as well. Because of course, if the WBD pays a lot of money to the NBA, it could affect AEW negatively. If they lose the NBA, it could actually be a positive for AEW because they could have more money to spend on All Elite Wrestling. Well, a bit of an update when it comes to the NBA's negotiations with Warner Bros. Discovery, because the National Basketball Association's exclusive media rights negotiating window with current partners Disney and Warner Bros. Discovery is likely to expire Monday without a new deal, according to people familiar with the matter. This comes from a report from CNBC, who reported this last night. This means that beginning next week, the NBA will be able to work on agreements for new partners to show packages of games. Amazon, Apple, YouTube TV, Comcast, NBC Universal/Peacock, and Netflix have all had preliminary conversations with the league expressing potential interest, CNBC reported last year. The exclusive negotiating window with the league's incumbent partners officially ends on Monday. While no agreement is expected to be announced by the deadline, Disney and Warner Bros. Discovery both continue to work on terms with the league, an NBA spokesperson confirmed. The NBA could like to bring in at least one new partner to serve as a flagship streamer, CNBC reported last year. The league wants a robust streaming partner that will use marketing and reach to make games a priority on their platform, CNBC reported. So again, it's certainly going to be very, very interesting. Of course, Warner Bros. Discovery's TBS began airing NBA games in 1984, and TNT has showed NBA games since 1988. Disney's ESPN and ABC have broadcast the NBA since 2002. The two companies have both publicly expressed a desire to renew with the NBA and have joined forces with Fox to launch a new streaming service geared to sports fans that don't already pay for cable. That service will debut in the fall, the company said earlier this year. So what do you think this means when it comes to AEW? Because of course, Tony Khan did say yesterday on the AEW Dynasty media call that he expects the AEW archive library to be a part of the upcoming media rights deal, hopefully with Warner Bros. Discovery. Now, he also shared that AEW remains in an exclusivity window with Warner Bros. Discovery. He said, quote, "An archive library and a place to put streaming events is a really interesting idea and certainly something that has existed in wrestling, and wrestling fans are able to watch a lot of events on streaming, and AEW events should be up there. It's something that I expect to happen in our next media rights deal. We're in an exclusive window right now talking to Warner Bros. Discovery, which is amazing and has been a great time." So what do you think the NBA could have an impact on AEW and their media rights negotiations? What are your thoughts that they're still in this exclusivity window? Let me know how you think that one's going to play out in the comment section below. Now, there was an article that came out from NBC News, from CNBC, regarding Vince McMahon's life after pro wrestling, or his life after WWE, after his resignation amid scandals and allegations made against him. And in that article, there was some reports and some sources that suggested that Vince McMahon had still been in contact post-resignation with the likes of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and John Cena. Now, after he resigned from WWE this January, very little regarding the happenings of former WWE chairman Vince McMahon had emerged. Now, that changed on Wednesday, as I mentioned, when an NBC News story gave a glimpse at McMahon's life since his resignation, particularly in how he's handling Janelle Grant's lawsuit against him, a lawsuit that accused McMahon of sex trafficking and abuse. The story also shined a light into McMahon's private life, including the revelation that McMahon has remained in contact with two key WWE figures in the form of John Cena and TKO Board of Directors member Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Shortly after the story on McMahon emerged, a spokesperson for Grant reached out to WrestleNomics' Brandon Thurston with a statement regarding Johnson and Cena maintaining a relationship with McMahon. Posted on X, the statement called Johnson and Cena shameful for maintaining a relationship with McMahon despite the allegations against him, and that behind-the-scenes support is louder than any public statement could ever be. This is what the statement said. Again, this comes courtesy of Brandon Thurston of WrestleNomics. He said, quote, "New comment from a spokesperson for Janelle Grant responding to NBC's reporting that Dwayne Johnson and John Cena are still in touch with Vince McMahon after his resignation. Quote, it's shameful that Mr. Johnson and Mr. Cena would associate themselves with an individual with decades of allegations just like Janelle's. Behind the scenes support is louder than any public statement ever could be." Now, the statement, as well as the revelation of Cena and Johnson's continued association with McMahon, comes shortly after both wrestlers played integral parts in WrestleMania 40, an event seen by many as an attempt by WWE to distance itself from McMahon. Appearing as a regular through WrestleMania season, Johnson competed at Night 1 of WrestleMania 40, teaming with Roman Reigns to defeat Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins, before interfering during Rhodes and Reigns' match on Night 2. Cena also interfered during the match and even briefly confronted The Rock moments before Rhodes emerged as the victor. So again, what are your thoughts on that? Let me know in the comment section below. Now, social media has been certainly talking a lot about Sheamus, his return to WWE television on Raw on Monday, as well as his appearance. Now, after an 8-month hiatus from an injury that saw his future called into question, Sheamus finally made his return to WWE this past week on Raw, defeating Ivar in singles action. The talk didn't center around Sheamus' victory or even his return, however, with fans instead spending time discussing Sheamus' physique, with some even going as far to shame Sheamus and accuse him of not being in shape. Initially joking that he was big-boned after his Raw appearance, Sheamus took to X Thursday afternoon to respond to the shamers, including photos fans had posted to social media comparing his current physique to his old one. Sheamus first called upon fans to take their best shots, and that afterward they would be done with the photoshopping and shaming. He then further revealed that he had not anticipated returning to Raw this past week, having instead been expecting that he would return following the WWE draft before getting a, quote, early call-up. After saying it was his bad, he had not been in the shape he'd previously been in, Sheamus then joked he had been sleeping in the gym ever since Raw and told the Sheamus to watch this space. On a positive note, Sheamus closed the post with some positivity to those who had continued to support him, telling fans he appreciated the love. He said, quote, okay, take your best shots, Wellmas, too many pies, etc. Then we're done with all the photoshopping and shaming. I was aiming for the draft and got an early call-up. My bad on me. Been sleeping in the gym ever since, so watch this space. I appreciate the love too. Hashtag Sheamus. Now, a bit of an update too when it comes to WrestleMania 41, because as of right now, we still don't know where WWE's premier premium live event is going to be taking place next year. Now, WrestleMania 41 still doesn't have a location announced, which is very unusual to many wrestling fans. Typically, WrestleMania's location is announced at least a year ahead of time, but this time, that is not the case. Now, Fightful has released a report stating that they have spoken to several sources around the Minnesota government who at times have claimed they were the frontrunners for the event, were landing the event, and even hoping they would announce the event officially very soon. However, until an official announcement happens, it is not confirmed. In fact, there are some within WWE that are still pushing for Las Vegas to be the home of WrestleMania 41. As noted this week, WWE President Nick Khan said that WrestleMania would likely not be returning to an outdoor Northeast location after the cold weather associated with this year's show. However, if they are to go through with Minnesota, Fightful have been told many options have been discussed. Khan also noted he didn't plan on going head-to-head with the NCAA Final Four, which led some to think that WrestleMania could perhaps return to March, where 15 events have been held. However, Fightful have learned that the possibility of WrestleMania WrestleMania happening in May has also been broached as well. It's worth noting that the US Bank Stadium does have a roof and hosts Minnesota Viking games. WWE have still yet to confirm to anyone the location of WrestleMania and have repeatedly stressed that the location isn't official until it's announced. And finally, WWE SmackDown superstar Cruz del Toro has undergone surgery. On the April 9 edition of NXT, Ridge Holland had a confrontation with LWO members Cruz del Toro and Joaquin Wilde. The backstage segment ended with Holland accidentally slamming a door on del Toro's hand, causing an injury to the SmackDown star. It appears that angle was a setup for Del Toro to undergo surgery for a legitimate arm injury. On April 18, Cruz del Toro took to Instagram to provide an update and revealed that he underwent surgery on his injured arm. He wrote, quote, "A special thank you to Dr. McKeon and the team at Birmingham Surgery Center for their care. The surgery was a success. Thank you for your messages of support and good wishes. I'll be back soon and better than ever. Like someone said, today is day one." Ridge Holland defeated Del Toro's LWO tag team partner Joaquin Wilde on the April 16 edition of NXT this past week. But there you go, guys. Latest pro wrestling news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right hand corner. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.